Hey, I somehow lost my pen, so I can't actually write down and journal. So I thought we'd do this. That way, we won't lose any of the memories, right? So, so let's start this morning. We got up and
Yeah.
had some oatmeal.
Oatmeal with Scott.
We packed up the trailer. You had a plugged ear.
I still have a plugged ear.
You still have a plugged ear from using the
Earplugs,
and it
but
was
it's
the
okay. Not gonna let it ruin my week.
whippoorwill last night.
Yeah.
You know,
The
just
dang
going
birds.
crazy, right? The whippoorwill going crazy. Then, so we got everything packed up around 9 o'clock. Scott, who you'll see a picture of him, he's our favorite driver, and he drove us over here. And told us a lot of stories. Probably our favorite is
Fish in the barrel.
the fish in the barrel.
He's a vegetarian because one time he was walking down by the lake, saw a guy fishing, looked in his fish bucket, saw a carp, and the carp said, "Scott!"
And he said he was freaked out, and since then he'll never eat fish because the fish talked to him. So, yeah. And he was telling us about his cabin that he has way north Minnesota with no
No electricity, no water.
no plumbing. Yeah, so it just really sounds like something, and he's married, so it's amazing that his wife goes with him. So we put in at North Springbrook Landing, which was a beautiful landing. It was a great way to start the trip, and that's at mile marker 52.5, and we had a really nice start.
Yeah, a lot of rapids.
Yeah, good rapids
Yeah.
too. Probably some of the better rapids we've ever had in the beginning. So that was a lot of fun. And then the funny thing too is this area has served by like Jack's, I don't know, Crazy Jack's Canoe Rentals or something.
Yeah. Saw like probably 20 parties of float trips and beer coolers going down.
Yeah, they got these giant inner tubes, and we've never seen this before because he never did this part of the river. Doesn't happen on the next stretch. And so, I mean, it was kind of fun. It kind of took away the serene nature, but the people were very nice, and it was okay, right?
It was good. Yeah.
So, so after that, we continued to wind around. You know, now there was a spot 38.8 that we thought, well, maybe we would, you know, spend the night there, and I think we said that spot was okay. We would stay there.
Right.
But we decided we were going to push through because we had to go through the lake. And, you know, mileage-wise, it didn't seem that bad. We'd gone 14 miles. We only had about 8 miles left, and it seemed like it would be pretty simple. But it wasn't simple at all, was it?
No.
So we started going through. We ended up going through some crazy bridge. It was like...
Yeah. It was like an old, like, I don't even know what it was, but there was like this much clearance, and you had a duck, and there was rebar going across. So
Yeah, I mean, we had we
like
could
this.
barely make it, and it was like, I'm like, are you serious? And it turned, and then we went by this, I have a picture of this crazy place called, like, I don't even know what it's called. Like, it was like a campground with,
it was like a cheap Dells on the river.
oh my gosh, yeah, it was
awful.
crazy.
I don't know
So,
go there.
so we got around there, and then we went under Highway 53, and then we got into the lake.
Yes.
And that's where things got a little tough because the lake wasn't moving,
No.
and and the lake was long.
It was long. The wind was at our backs, but at the same time, it was still water, so it was really rough. And at that time, we'd already gone how many miles?
At least 18.
At least 18, and our shoulders were hurting pretty bad, so it was really difficult, but we made it through.
And on top of that, it's not really a very I mean, it's okay, but it's wide. There's houses. There's people on pontoon boats. You know, we were kind of avoiding the boat traffic, which is really too bad because the earlier part we were on the Namekagon was beautiful, and the rapids were probably some of the best rapids we ever had. But then this part was kind of a bummer.
Yeah.
So then it became kind of like, how long till we get to the dam? And then we finally made it to the dam.
Yep.
And then we looked at the portage, and the dam was really raging.
It was raging. They were letting through a lot of water, and the portage, I mean, how much elevation do you think it was down from the top?
I don't know. We had
Maybe
to,
100 feet?
yeah, we had to climb up with the kayaks and then climb back down, and it was very steep. And then the water, I think it's not used to being this fast. It was really moving.
Yeah, it was.
And you were putting in like right next to the dam.
It was, it was fast and furious.
They had like I mean, it was crazy. So, actually though, we did okay with that.
Yeah, we ended up doing okay. And then,
and we felt better because...
Yeah, we were back in the river and it was pushing us along, so we weren't doing all the work. And
it was really cruising, yeah. So then... But then we thought we only had about a mile to go to get to our campsite. And that's when I made a... so I guess, you know, not to...
What was the first campsite?
Well, the first campsite we were going to stop at was 30.2.
30.2.
And Pat stopped there and went and looked around and said, yeah, it's not bad. It had big steps. It was very steep, so we would have had a hard time getting the kayaks up. But, you know, I saw on the map that there was a group site only a mile away, and the group sites are usually much nicer. And it's a Monday, and there's no reason for anybody to be in this part of the river because nobody else was doing what we're doing. So we thought for sure, I thought for sure. I said, Pat, I'm very confident.
There's going to be no one at the group campsite.
There's not going to be any. Then we passed another one. 29.7, which was really not, that was terrible.
No, you couldn't see anything, just tall grass.
Yeah, it was just tall grass.
Awful.
So when we get to the group site, and
there's a bunch of kids, and
it's a bunch of girls. It's like the Girl Scouts. It's like, how did they even get there?
Yeah, that was like Girl Scouts.
I mean, there's no place they could have gone. I don't know how they would get there. They certainly didn't do what we did. They certainly didn't portage to the dam.
They probably put it in a county K and then just...
It's like a mile. So they went like a mile and then decided to camp. That's crazy.
I don't know. But they were there, and we didn't even look to see if we could fit. I was just like, no. So I was like, no, we're gonna keep going. So
and I felt terrible because I was the one. Pat was actually wanted to stay at the 30.2, and now now it's getting late.
It's getting late. We've done like 20 miles.
Now we're at. Now we were going to be at 23, and so then there was one more site, which is the site we're at.
Yeah.
24
This is the next one.
Yeah, 28.4.
Yeah.
Because... What is that?
No.
If anything happens, it'll be on video.
Little birds.
So there was only one site left. It was this one, and then after this, it would have been another 3 miles or more, another hour of, half an hour of kayaking. So... Thankfully, this site turned out well, and it's been really good so far.
It's a pretty site.
It is a pretty site.
We're up high, and the river's flowing down, and
the river is raging. I don't remember ever seeing it this fast. So it is just raging, So a great first day. We went 24 miles, which is way further than we planned on going. We originally planned on 22, and even had an option to go 14, but we ended up pushing it to 24. We only have a 100-mile trip, so. Tomorrow should be an easy day.
Yeah.
They are calling for rain tomorrow.
In the morning.
But we're hoping that we can do a lot more fishing. We didn't really do any fishing today.
I didn't cast once.
It was like, put your head down and paddle. So that was the day. And so hopefully, when I get home, I can mark those campsites on here when I actually get a pen. And tomorrow, I guess our goal was to stay at Howell Landing.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll have to see now if that group behind us coming, we don't want to stay there and all of a sudden have a bunch of Girl Scouts at the site with us. Maybe it's a one-night trip and they'll be off, but I don't know. So we'll see tomorrow what we're going to do.
Yeah.
All right.
Cool.
Thanks everybody. Have a good night. It's about 8 o'clock here, and we're not even going to make a fire tonight. We're gonna probably hit the hay pretty soon. All right. our video log because I left my pen at home. Or I left my pen, I lost it somewhere. I think it's in the river.
It's in the river.
So, Tuesday. We had an adventurous day today.
Lazy day.
Probably one of the most enjoyable days I've ever had on the river, I would say. So we got up. We didn't get up super early, but we got up and had oatmeal and did our stuff with our tent and,
Tore down, was out of there by 9.
Out of there by 9. I caught a bass just before we left.
Yep.
And then 9 o'clock we left. It was a little overcast and they were calling for rain today.
And it rained early this morning, like 5 a.m.
Yeah, 5 a.m. it rained. And Pat said he slept really well last night. I would say I was okay.
Crashed.
So, we had an interesting day of it today. We kind of, we were at 28.4 is the site we were at. And we left and we just started fishing as we were going. And we're doing a bunch of fishing. And we saw quite a few people. We saw a man and his son. And we saw a whole group of kayakers, like from some camp. And in fact, we stopped for lunch. And the kayakers kind of overtook us.
Yep.
The canoers, I should say.
Yeah, young kids, like some YMCA camp or something.
YMCA camp. One thing we didn't mention was that yesterday we saw some really neat wildlife. We saw eagles yesterday. We saw cranes.
Yep.
And then today, after our encounter with the kids, we went through an incredibly beautiful area. And I remember while we were going there, I was fishing and I heard this incredibly loud sound. And it was an eagle that came literally like 10 feet over my head, and an amazing thing. And then we both saw, but you were closer.
There was a deer that just jumped out, swam across the river between both of us, which was pretty crazy.
I never saw a deer swim before, yeah.
Yeah. And then, what else did we see?
And the deer was just right there, yeah. And we saw another crane today, and lots and lots of really big turtles. Yeah.
Big turtles.
So it was a super relaxing day, and we were having, a lot of floating and fishing. We only had to go 11 miles today, so we thought, okay, we'll take it easy. And then there was one point that came, and I said, hey, Pat, let's make this into an adventure. And we saw some trees and thought, that were off the regular river, and it looked like there was a path to go there. And I was thinking, we'll just zigzag through these trees, and it'll be kind of a fun little technical kayaking course to go through.
He said, let's take the dangerous route.
I said, yeah, I did.
Something like that.
I said, yeah, because danger is my middle name.
So I said, okay, and I went full speed.
As did I. And then as I got closer, I realized the river was blocked there by an enormous tree.
Yeah.
Like the whole tree was sitting, it was actually on the river was blocked, and so I yelled to Pat, stop, stop, stop.
Stop, go back, go back. So we went back. The current was too swift to go back out into the channel, I guess, and so we got...
And unfortunately, the tree extended way far. So even though there was this big limb, all the branches extended for a long way. And now we were in the part of the river where the current was going fast.
It's going fast and straight under the tree branches. They were hanging over, and they were too big to push out of the way. So I hit them first and got stuck.
And then I was good enough to slam right into him, and now...
couldn't really do anything about it.
Yeah.
My paddle came out, I don't know, it just got stuck vertically.
In the tree.
I was just hanging on to the tree and trying not to tip, because it was, my kayak started to tip.
And then my kayak did tip.
Yeah, he totally tipped
And
over.
then my kayak
out.
started to take water because I was next to Pat and I was getting sandwiched here. And then the water started coming in, and I realized at that point, I don't have any choice. I've got to bail. So I jumped out of my kayak, and luckily the water was only up to our knees, and I was able to kind of move the kayak away. But now my kayak was completely swamped.
Full of water.
Full of water.
So we repositioned ourselves out of the main current and kind of brushed it off, I guess, a little bit. And we tipped his kayak over and get all the water out.
And then, and that was a bummer. I mean, everything was going well. Now I was totally wet. Everything was wet, and but and it was stupidity. And Pat said later, you should have just gone. We were in the low current, and if I had just gone straight into that log, we would have just got hung up on the log instead of
stuck upright on the log.
Instead of
upside
tipping.
down.
So, but that was a good lesson learned.
Yeah.
And I guess I shouldn't be the one to say that we're going to do something dangerous.
You gotta commit. That's what I'm saying. No backing out.
So then after that, there were more people on the river than we were used to today. Like every time, it seemed like almost every stop where we went to go stop somewhere, somebody was there. So, we are staying at different spots, but we like them actually. Like this, normally tonight we would stay at Howes Landing, but there was a group there, and this site is just a little bit past it, and it's beautiful, and we really like it. So
right on the tip of a big turn.
Yeah.
So right on the tip, there's a trail that goes probably like a mile that way. We went up there, got some firewood.
And then it rained on and off today, and it was raining when we got back here, kind of misting and then stopping, misting and stopping. So that's a little bit of a bummer because everything was wet. But now it's dried out. We were able to make a fire, so we should be able to get everything dry. And then tomorrow is a bigger day. We're going to go about 21 miles tomorrow. So
we should be fully rested.
Should be fully rested. So a good, day 2. It was kind of like every day on the Namekagon, right? Like for me, it was one of my favorite days because I've ever had here because we were so chill and we're just floating and I'm fishing. I'm like, it wasn't like when we were here with the scouts and be like, come on, you guys, you got to paddle. We were able to do it, but then, then you end up swamping and it rains and you're kind of like, okay. So, but still, all in all, another amazing day.
Good day. Day 2.
Day 2. All right. So we will talk to you guys tomorrow night. You guys wanted to come and do our video journal. Again, I lost my pen, so we're gonna do it this way.
Yeah.
So today was Wednesday, and I would say it was probably one of the craziest days we've had. Think so?
Besides the sweeper yesterday.
Besides the sweeper yesterday, yeah.
Yes.
So, and the reason for that was we saw things today that we've never seen before. So this trip has been just really interesting in that there's just things that it's like a totally different trip than we've ever taken, even though this is like maybe our 6th time doing this. So, yet we talked to you yesterday that we left our site, which was 16.5, and that site worked out really nice, worked out perfect.
Mm-hmm.
And we got up this morning about we got up and we got out about 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
Yep. We didn't have a lot of luck fishing yesterday, but that was okay. And today we planned to do about 19 miles, and we were going to try to see what the campsites look at. And we got in an area of the Namekagon that was very beautiful, but the damage and the devastation from the flood was amazing. We were now kind of getting to the northernmost part of the Namekagon, and it's hard to describe, but there were like whole groves of trees that had been...
like acres of trees, huge trees just snapped in half.
And
just
so
massive trees snapped in half, and like it was like that for like a mile down the river.
Yeah, it was crazy. I mean, in some cases the tree was like actually sliced in half down the trunk.
Yeah, something serious happened there for sure.
And tons of debris in the river, and then also the river was a lot wider than we were used to. It didn't look like the narrow Namekagon winding around. It was very wide at this point.
Yeah,
and you could see the water line.
Yeah. At least the water line was at least 2 feet from where it is now, probably.
Yeah.
So
on the Namekagon.
Yeah.
So then as we came forward, and I guess at the end I'll tell you about a couple of the campsites that we looked at. We stopped for lunch at a group site 3.6, which was pretty nice. And
it was a nice pine forest area. It was
we had our peanut butter and jelly crackers,
peanut butter and jelly,
which was nice.
Leftover sausage.
Yeah. And then we set off for the end of the Namekagon. And, it was kind of sad to get to the end of the Namekagon just because it was really a beautiful river. But again, such devastation. So then we
went through the rapids. The last part of the Namekagon is rapids, so went through those. They weren't that big, were they?
They weren't that big, no. They were maybe a little smaller than normal just because the water's so high.
Mm-hmm.
And then we moved on to the St. Croix. And when we got to the St. Croix, it was kind of almost shocking, right? Because while the Namekagon had a lot of devastation, to St. Croix, it was like a bomb went off.
Yeah, it's more visible because there's bigger islands in between the two banks, and you could see all the trees that were pushed up against the front of the island, kind of like I don't know, like a boat hull or something.
Yeah.
It was just.
And as we were going by islands that normally have campsites, you could see that the island had been completely covered,
Completely submerged. Yeah.
with water.
Yeah.
And, it looked like the water had come down, maybe 10 feet, but it's just crazy.
Yeah, and the first site we wanted to go to was probably,
133.
133. In between there, there's a sign that said it was closed for erosion. So it's definitely we didn't see it, but we don't even know if it was there. So
That was, the 134. And then 133
Yeah.
we did see, but
Yep.
that looked, and it was up high, but it didn't look like it had been taken care of at all.
no.
And then we stopped at 132.4 to look at it, and it's a large site. We've looked at it before, and the problem is that there's a path you go and it goes up on a hill, and you can't see the river or anything. So it's,
No.
and then it was all muddy getting into it. So
Right.
yeah, we said okay, we'll try our luck. At this point now, we've gone, the distance we wanted for the day, but we decided to continue. So then we got to this site, and at first we were a little bit like,
You're like, well, it looks there's a lot of down trees here, and from the river it didn't look very promising. But we stopped and we got out, checked it out, and we were pretty tired, so we decided to make the best of it. And there's 2 picnic tables here when there's supposed to be none. So
you can see if you were here that there was a wall of water that was coming down with tons of debris, and this bank here faces where that water would come, and you can just see right next to us there's just a whole bunch of debris, giant tree trunks and everything that clearly just smashed in, and those 2 picnic tables, there's not supposed to be a picnic table here. So those were coming from somewhere else. And then
Yeah.
Pat found a bunch of personal stuff.
yeah, a bunch of camp stuff, sandals and Gatorade bottles and bug spray stuff, and I was scared there was going to be a dead guy back there, but I didn't find anyone, so that's a bonus, I guess.
But I'll tell you, we were saying today, the thought of actually being caught in that, you talk about, I'll do this, I'll do that. The force of the water must have been absolutely unbelievable.
I don't know. It would have been a struggle for survival.
Oh, yeah.
No doubt. But it really looks like a tornado went off, or
Yeah.
a tornado was here or something.
It really does.
It's crazy.
So we had our dinner. You had,
Lasagna with
And-
meat sauce.
was it good?
It was good.
And I had the beef stroganoff, and it was pretty good. The mosquitoes are pretty bad here, but we've been putting on a lot of bug spray, and I think we have enough wood that we'll have a fire. I don't think we'll be up very late. I'm personally really tired, so.
Yeah.
And then tomorrow we have a day that we're gonna, probably shouldn't be too bad. Probably at the most 19 miles. We'll have to see.
Yeah. Won't be.
But we've been pretty happy. We haven't been able to stay at the normal places we did. Normally, last time we stayed at Riverside Landing, but here
Right.
we're in this beautiful area. Granted, there's a lot of devastation, but I think actually we're the first ones here since the flood.
I think so too.
And we haven't seen anybody else on this river today at all. So, and we saw quite a few people in the Namekagon.
Mm-hmm.
So that's it. It was a crazy day. I mean, it was thrilling. We were kind of like in awe at the beauty of the Namekagon, then the destruction of the Namekagon. And when we got on the St. Croix, we couldn't believe just how much water. We were thinking trillions and trillions of gallons. So, and then, we were able to kind of convert this site. So I think we're going to have a nice night, and then we'll get up tomorrow and continue the adventure, okay?
Let's do it.
Do it tomorrow?
Do it tomorrow.
All right. Journal, just because I forgot my pen, or I lost my pen. And yesterday, at the end of the day, we couldn't remember everything, so I thought, hey, let's do it with the morning at lunch. So today's Thursday, and we got up a little late.
Yeah. We got. What time did we get up?
I woke up and it was 8 o'clock.
8 o'clock.
Yeah, so we didn't leave the camp. We didn't really get on the water. I mean, we were paddling at 10, which is really late for us.
You slept good.
I did sleep
it
good. I
was
feel
worth
much
it.
better today. But Yeah, one thing is, well, we'll talk about that later. But so we got out at about 10, and the day today is gonna be a hot day.
It's hot. It's not as hot as it's gonna be tomorrow, but it's hot.
What did they say today's gonna be?
Today upper 80s, tomorrow upper 90s.
Yeah, so we are struggling a bit with the heat, but we're
And
drinking
it's
plenty of water and all that.
Super sunny. The last 3 days have been overcast. Today is like mostly sunny, so it's very hot, but so far so good.
So far, so good. I guess, just as a reminder, last night we were at that spot at 129.5. It looked beautiful this morning.
Mm-hmm.
Mosquitoes were really bad there, but otherwise it was a nice sight. And we left this morning and got out and started paddling, and both of us were, even though we slept late, we're still pretty tired.
Yeah,
but
physically exhausted.
Physically. But then, the one thing is we were paddling on the river is just the amount of destruction. We saw just huge amounts of debris, and we are like literally the only people on this river.
Mm-hmm. We haven't seen anyone in like 24 hours at least.
Yeah, as soon as we got on the St. Croix, and the amount of destruction here is crazy. And so we feel like Lewis and Clark a little bit, huh? Like,
yes.
In many cases, I think we're the first people who are at these places that we're visiting since the flood.
Yeah.
It's just amazing how much water there was. So we, if you remember, we stopped at as we went under that railroad bridge. We went by this site 125.5, and
Yes.
it was okay. We looked at it. It was okay.
Yeah, it was okay. It would have been hard to get out.
It would have been hard to get out. That's something with all these sites that we're lowering. Right now we're at 119.3, which is a group site. And it's actually a nice site.
We're on the Minnesota side.
We're on the Minnesota side. It's a little difficult to get out of your kayak here because it's quite deep.
Yes.
So Pat almost.
I almost capsized and I almost ripped my butt.
But you're okay.
Yeah. Right now I'm good.
You were doing the splits, out there. That was crazy.
Yeah.
That was crazy. We saw another eagle today. He was absolutely amazing. We saw two, and I took a video of one, but the second one.
Yeah, he was super close and he did not move at all. We came right next to him.
It was amazing. He was on this dead tree way up there and just lording over the river and just looked down as we passed like, I'm not moving for you. He was amazing. And we saw a lot of other wildlife. We keep seeing deer come down to the stream to drink, and which is pretty cool. And
some cool birds at the other place, the last campsite, you said.
That's right. Yeah, we had some almost like parakeets. It was really strange. So we're about halfway there. It's we've gone about 10 miles and we have about 9 miles left. And then tomorrow will be a very easy day for us. But tomorrow's supposed to be, you said, ridiculously hot.
Tomorrow's supposed to be upper 90s, heat index near 110.
Something like that. So.
And then in the afternoon, tomorrow's just a thunderstorm with chances of hail. So we'll see.
So we're going to keep tomorrow as a very short day. I mean, we even have the option, if it gets really bad, we can get off the river because we could just go a little further and get off. But if tomorrow we'll have a short paddle, but we'll talk about that later tonight. So we're at 119.3 right now. It looks like a gorgeous day. Pat's going to give you a quick tour of, we did something today we don't normally do, which was a midday dooski drop. And the reason we did the midday dooski drop is because the toilet at our other place was blocked, and we dug a hole, but this morning we were just kind of like, eh. So we found this one, and it is quite the path to get there. Pat will let you know. Well, right in the middle of this storm coming in here, looks pretty threatening. We're waiting to see if the rain's going to start. We're just about to eat dinner, but I don't think we're going to eat. And
it's a little scary right now.
It's a little scary right now.
There's blue sky behind us, but the storm is coming that way.
One of the crazy things was just a minute ago, an eagle flew right past us.
Yeah.
And usually he's been our friend the whole time. He usually guides us in our way this trip. But Yeah, so there's not been any lightning.
No lightning and the thunder stopped too.
Yeah, so hopefully it's just blowing through, but you know, we have these watches until 9 o'clock, so we'll have to see what's going on. I mean, you know, it's a little scary, huh?
We'll make it.
We'll make it. We'll make it. Yes. In fact, while we're here, we might as well just talk about our day.
If the microphone's not being beat up with me.
True. Let's see if we can just do this here. Might as well talk about our day. This is kind of appropriate. I mean, we were just saying today. This has been a trip
day.
It's been a great trip. We've exceeded. We're about 80 miles now, and it's definitely tested us, especially as we got on the St. Croix here. I mean,
Physically, emotionally, and
this place should really probably be closed. I mean, it's just we stopped at some sites today that were just destroyed, and yeah. So we'll talk to you about after lunch. After lunch, we went out and it was blazing hot. It was really hot, wasn't it?
yeah,
And
super hot.
we drank a lot though of water, and then Pat had to go to the bathroom, so we stopped at a site which ended up being a complete swamp.
Mosquito city. It was a campsite.
I've never had so many mosquitoes. It was really, you know, it was just destroyed. And it's hard to describe, but like at every turn of the river, giant groups of timbers that just washed down the river and were trashed. It was terrible.
Everywhere. And then I tried to get back in my kayak and I swamped. So
Yeah, and then Pat made Pat unhappy because he, that was not happy.
I got all wet.
He got all wet. So, but then we found this site. This is the site we've been at before, and this site has always been good to us. And luckily, you know, the crazy thing is, look at this site here. I'll turn you around. Here's our site. It sits.
It's not huge.
When we were here last time, it sat how much above the water, Pat?
10 feet maybe.
Well, yeah, at least quite a bit more than it is now. And this whole site here was underwater,
Yeah.
which is just unbelievable. We found debris everywhere. You know, the toilet that, if we go down this path, the one that Pat showed you in the video last time, actually was lifted and moved into a different area of the forest.
The hole in the ground with all the poop in it is still there, but the wooden seat was lifted up and now it's in the middle of the brush. So
And interestingly, the hole is completely clean.
it's very clean.
So I'm thinking all of the holes in
All the
the St. Croix have just gone anywhere.
And
So
there's blue sky.
oh no, all of a sudden the crazy weather seems to be subsiding. So wow. Okay.
That's life on the St. Croix.
So that was our day today. You know, we're trying to investigate what we're going to do tomorrow. There's supposed to be extreme heat and a chance of hail, and we might end tomorrow. We certainly, you know, we're 21 miles from the finish. We're going to do the 100 miles. It's just a matter of, do we need 2 days to do it or one, and we'll have to figure that out. So just thought we would check in tonight. Well, I didn't know if we would be able to later when the weather looked pretty dicey, but it looks better now, huh?
Looks good.
All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Good morning. It is Friday morning, and this is our last full day on the river. You know that storm we were looking at last night? Nothing happened. It was amazing actually. There was a storm to the right, to the left, and we had this nice little eye of the storm, as Pat called it. You know, God kept protected us during that time. It was kind of scary, but we were unscathed. We actually had a nice night. You know, we tried to make a fire, but the wood was wet and green. Weren't able to. I tried to catch some fish, but we weren't able to. That part probably wasn't too successful, but still a good night. You can see I'm wearing my head net. The mosquitoes here are absolutely ferocious. Probably the most ferocious mosquitoes we've ever seen. And I have a feeling it's all the mosquitoes that are starting to hatch from the flooding. You know, we had very few, if any, mosquitoes or bugs. We were marking on the Namekagon. It was wonderful. And then over here now, they are just relentless. So we had a pretty good night. Pat had, what'd you have for dinner, Pat?
Chili mac with beans and part of your chicken vindaloo.
Yes.
Made me this morning take a chicken vindapoo with no seat.
Yeah, I mentioned before that the toilet here was blown away in the storm. So there's just a big hole. But you are the first one, I imagine you, the inaugural
squatter.
The inaugural squatter, yeah. I think Pat and I both say we are the St. Croix here has been really tough. You know, we are both pretty beat. We're up now early. It's about 7:30 because it's supposed to be very hot today, and then also severe thunderstorm watch this morning. So we're trying to get out of here as quickly as we can, put some miles in, and then we don't know what's ahead of us. If the campsites that we're looking for are flooded, we'll keep going. We might, and then in that case, we might even keep going all the way to the end and just take out. Hopefully they're nice and we can take out and have one last night. But we'll just see. The river will dictate what we do today. So talk to you later. So this is Friday. Yes, hard to believe, Pat. So we've done, as I said last night, I think I figured it out. 78 miles, 77 miles over. No, it'd be actually 79 miles over 5 days. So that's pretty impressive. Yeah. All right. Just finished our trip. We're actually a day early.
Yeah, Friday.
And
Friday afternoon.
It was actually a good day. We had some great rapids. I mean, rapids crazy. We'll tell more about them later. We're getting the picture. More than crazier than we've ever had. But yeah, and then right now we're back. We're gonna unload and then get back and probably gonna go get some food and such and stay overnight. I think we're a little too tired to drive home, so we're gonna stick around tonight. All right, we'll talk to you later. Bye-bye. Welcome to our final edition of our video journal of our trip.
At a rest stop.
We're at a rest stop in Wisconsin, about 2.5 hours from home. So how come we're at a rest stop in Wisconsin? We got up this morning, and you saw our video this morning, and so the forecast today. Tell them what the forecast for today.
Forecast was high 90s, heat index of like 110, and so we got up, and the mosquitoes were really bad still, and
we got up at 6.
Got up at 6.
We were out on the water by 7:30.
Yeah, the earliest of all week, I think.
Because of the heat, and then you know, we were only going to go a few miles, like 6 miles.
6 miles to our next campsite. Have a short day, and then have a short day tomorrow too. But as we progressed, we were faced with 2 options: either doing that or pushing through 2 days of miles and finishing out on today. So
yeah, and as we started out, we were both pretty tired this morning, and Pat, you know, didn't get to sleep very much last night, and so we were a little bummed in the beginning. And then we had some campsites that we were going to go stay at. And it was kind of like, hey, if these campsites work out, we'll stay there. Well, the campsites would be wonderful campsites, but one of them was like obliterated with debris, and the other 2 were still really, really wet. And so, okay, we'd be in a swamp. That didn't seem like fun. So then we said, okay, well, let's make the decision to go home. And then came one of the best parts of the trip.
Yeah, we hit like 3 or 4 miles of really, really intense rapids, which were a lot of fun. Doesn't sound fun, but it was a lot of fun.
Bigger rapids than we've ever had.
Yeah,
before.
Especially in a kayak, so you're pretty much getting wet the whole time. I got hit with a pretty big side wave. Came into my kayak. I got totally soaked, but it felt really good because it was really hot, and some really big shelves that we didn't really go over, but they were, I mean, pretty dangerous probably. But
big walls of water. And you know, you could tell when like Pat was in a wave in front of me, he would disappear. And it was the same with me. So these were by far the biggest rapids we ever had. So they were very thrilling, and they helped the morning go quickly. They were actually, you know, we were kind of like, gosh, we really don't want to swamp, but these were intense rapids.
Right.
So
right before then, I thought I was not gonna make it. I was in a real downer state. I was just like, this sucks. I don't want to do anything. So.
But I was very proud of Pat because he motored through. I mean, he told me this morning he didn't feel good about it. He powered through and made it. And you know, so then after the rapids, you know, we were going to stop for lunch, but the places that we looked to stop didn't look particularly good. And then we thought, you know, the thought of actually getting out when we're only 4 or 5 miles from the end So we actually powered through and got to the end before 1 o'clock, which was amazing. We actually got back. So we called Wild River.
Called them up. There was no radio in the box, so we had to call them on our cell phone. But
And then,
the only bad side was the last mile. It really felt like we were being tested because there was like a 20-mile-an-hour wind straight in our face. So it was like if you stopped paddling, you were actually going backwards in the river. So
it was actually more than last mile. It was like that almost the whole day when we were in the
that's
rapids.
true.
I mean, it was ridiculous.
except for the rapids, it was kind of a miserable paddle.
But we saw a lot of eagles today, too.
A lot of eagles.
And,
yeah.
you know, we maybe saw 4 eagles. It seemed like every time that we ever kind of thought, wow, this is getting boring, an eagle would pop out and just like, it was so incredible. They would go down the
water corridor and then
like
pop
to lead
back
you
up.
and say, okay, it's good, this is the way.
Yeah, it was really cool. The wildlife was amazing the whole trip. Overall, the trip was physically challenging, mentally challenging, but definitely rewarding, I would think.
Yeah, what was your favorite thing?
Oh man, I don't know. It's just it was a lot of fun. The Namekagon was really peaceful. It was moving more swiftly than ever before, and it was just a really good time. Some outdoor time with this guy was a good time. So
yeah, I think for me, one of my favorites was that day we were so chill on the Namekagon. That was fun.
Yeah.
The rapids were fun, and there was also some incredible challenges that I hadn't expected. The portage that we did was very difficult, both physically and, you know, it was just kind of scary.
It was technical.
Just very technical.
Just getting back in the kayak, like right where the water was coming in from the dam, just gushing. There was no room for error could be had. So
and I think the other thing is just going 100 miles is a long way. I don't think we really appreciated how long it was, and you know, by the time we were in the mile 50, 60, we're like, wow, we're not going to be done tomorrow. We still got like 2 more days because we chose to do 100. But in the end, I'm really glad we picked the challenge. I'm thrilled that we were able to make the challenge. So
definitely a good time.
So hopefully you enjoyed this, and you know, we look forward to giving you more details. We just wanted to make sure we finished off. And so actually, after we got back to the outfitters, we showered, and then we went on a fast food binge. We had some Pizza Hut,
and Culver's and
Sundays,
so
we've just
burgers
been anything that's not freeze dried or prepared. So
definitely well earned.
So all right, we'll see you later.